Hello, this is the Harp Report, and this is a continuation of the Tinker Air Force Base issue. And I found that in the Google Maps Street View, certain years after the GM plant was closed, there's this blob where they have cut and pasted something over some special little area of this Tinker Air Force Base thing that I was proposing was a coal ash processing plant. So let's look at this interesting effect on Google Maps and which years it actually exists. So the big building was a GM plant building, Chevy Citations of all things, and looks like here it says right here 2,000 hourly and 200 salary will be out of work by 2006. So we'll go back to the other stuff. Now actually we need to know when the GM plant was sold to the Air Force, and so the GM plant closed in 2006. In 2009, Oklahoma City bought the building with a $55 million bond and then leased it back to the Air Force for $1 a year. And it says here in 2009 there's 4 million square feet of usable space, and 2.5 million is taken up by the complex, which is a Air Force maintenance stuff. So not all of the building is being used in this publicly disclosed way. So go back to the blob on the fence. So in 2014, you can see how they've cut and pasted something in there, and where they couldn't make it look good, they just blurred the thing out. So that's 2014. And 2011, still that same area is blurred out, and that's just a piece of wire hanging from the fence. And the neat thing is, if you go down the street, that blob stays right where it's at. Of course, the chain link fence changes a little. What about earlier in the calendar date? So 2008, it's lower res. You still have that piece of wire hanging from the fence, but they didn't blur anything out here. So this is GM plant's closed, but they haven't really started up. Air Force hadn't bought it yet, so it's not blurred out. What about 2009? 2009, same thing. Wait a minute, no. That piece of wire is still hanging from the fence, but you can see a cut. You can see a cut, and that's not the pipe broken. That's actually a cut, because down here you can see it. A cut and paste, that is. Digital image manipulation. So soon as 2009 April, soon as the Air Force decides to purchase this, they start messing with this map, or with this street view. And looking at 2011, you can see how big of a patch they've cut out by comparing this where the posts are cut, and it really stops right about here. So it's definitely something around this building here, and it's actually something located at the southwest corner of this big GM building, because if you step to the right a few feet, if you rotate to the right, you get this. Here's the wire hanging there, and nothing's chopped up here. So they're not trying to hide the rest of this depot maintenance area. They're just trying to hide something on the southwest corner of that big white building. 2014, it's like, wow, they're really trying to hide something big here. This is cut and paste here because it doesn't line up, but this is actually obliterated. And there's our handy dandy wire hanging there year after year. The thing hung there at least 8 years. Somebody hit it with a mower and just threw it up there. So 2016, I moved just a few feet down the street, and you can see the wire here hanging on the left, and it's still got a cutout with the blob in the same place. So now you can see how Google hires so many programmers, because there's some real sophisticated software to keep that blob in place and stitch this chain link back together. 2016, I don't know how they did this. I mean, you got to match the color of the grass and all that. It's pretty sophisticated software. Now here it doesn't look so good. I mean, what the heck are they trying to hide here? So I was kind of thinking, what happens if you look diagonal through 2 layers of fence? Do you still get the same thing? So I went up here. So here you can see diagonal through this piece of, we're looking through 3 layers of chain link right here in 2009. It's not blurred out. So the Air Force just bought the plant, and now we go to 2011. Not blurred out. And then strangely in 2014 it's blurred out again. And that's through 3 layers of chain link. They have blurred the exact same area. So there's definitely something hidden there. And that made me think, what is right there? Maybe we can get an aerial view and try and figure out. Oh, before I do, here's 2016. Again, 2 years later, still blurred out. So here's Google Maps, and on my machine, Midwest City, I can still see the railroad tracks. You know, everything's still just like when I made the video. So, you know, here's the here's where we were looking. Actually, we were looking right through here because there's this natural gas piping here. So we were looking right in this direction over here, looking straight down at this parking lot pretty much. So I was wondering if maybe they figured out a way to pull these planes off of the tarmac, the runway, and pull them over to that parking lot, clear down here, but the planes are too wide, it's too risky, you know, because if you had like a B2, B1 or B2 there and it's getting classified service, sure, they could blur that out, but there's just no way to get them from over here on the runway and get it through all this congestion. Of course, granted, I'm seeing probably a picture that's 10 years old. Who knows what it really looks like. But even right now, you know, they're showing me something that's a different. This gray map is probably current, and then this brown area is probably several years ago, before anything took place here. But the fact is that something in this area here is, the military doesn't want anybody to see this. So it's anybody's guess what might be sitting here that's big enough to be seen from the road in detail and is apparently classified and is not allowed to be seen. But you know, if somebody goes there with binoculars or any kind of camera, you could take a picture of this and put this on YouTube and then go around that Google blurred area. It would be interesting to see that. And if you actually go south on this Air Depot Boulevard, that cutout patch actually changes, but the blurred part is just merged with the sky, so they don't have to go to the big white thing. So anyway, this cutout patch would be something that's several years old. So as you go down the road, the chain link goes down below the field of view or the building, but you can still see where it's edited here. They're sharp over here, blurry over here, and it's blurry, and then it becomes sharp again. So they're just not letting anybody see this building at all there in 2014. Incidentally, if you look at the street gate over by the blue water tower over on Air Depot Boulevard, sure enough, in 2008 it was locked up. This is right after the plant closed. And in 2009 they put these 3 concrete barriers up, which stayed there until the present day. 2014 hadn't changed at all. 2016. So boy, once the Air Force bought that building, they wanted it shut, and shut pretty good. So my only theory is that they're trying to hide those two muddy ponds. Because when an Okie sees a muddy pond, he knows there's catfish in there. And he's going to sneak in there at night to catch some of those big old catfish, big old channel cat. That's how I did it when I lived in Oklahoma. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Hope this was interesting.